For the main stage track, we're talking with Christopher Lafayette of GatherVerse. He's the founder there. And they're talking with Dr. Messina Morris on the main stage. His talk is called Humanity First Approach to Building the Metaverse. Let's get started. Christopher, thank you so much for joining us today.
Nathan, thank you so much for having me. I certainly hope you've been keeping well.
Oh, awesome. Best to you as well. So, please tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do in the metaverse.
Sure, Christopher Lafayette, Meditarian, founder of GatherVerse, which we take a humanity first approach to the metaverse itself. And I'm an emergent technologist and have been exploring technologies for a very long time, emerging technologies in particular, to understand ecologically how technologies abide within the ecohabitat and how they merge and pair together and what that means for humanity itself.
Not a small task. Thank you for that. So, we ask everyone, how often are you in the metaverse and what do you do there?
When we talk about the metaverse and how often we're in it, we're engaging with the metaverse almost every day if we're engaging in digital. So I'm often in the metaverse. When you start going to the definition of the metaverse being an ecosystem of creativity and interaction virtually,
Hmm.
when we start thinking about our interaction and our time spent in the metaverse, we're in the metaverse right now, you and I together, Nathan. So a lot of what I look at when it comes to the metaverse is how further deep into the metaverse are we going? We've been on the surface of the metaverse for decades, but now we're going further into the chasms of the metaverse itself.
Oh my goodness. This is the first time I'm hearing this metaphor, but I could not agree more. I love it. Thank you. What's one big idea that you're hoping to share with the AWE audience at Augmented World Expo this year?
A call to arms of the human heart. We've gone through the growth stage of getting to the metaverse or the conceptual metaverse. And it started off with ideas, an ideation phase. And through the ages and dispensations of time, it's been developing on a amorphous scale into something quite different. The collective contribution of humanity that's led us to where we're at now has brought us to hardware and software development. But the natural next step in the progressive growth of the metaverse is humanity, followed by accessibility, education, safety, privacy, wellness, community development, and equality. We build hardware and software with great enthusiasm, as we should, and it's so necessary. But we must be mindful that we build hardware and software for who and for what. And it's for the who and for what is what we can't forget. And so, with all the great development of hardware and software that's being contributed and has been for some time, we this to extend human preservation and extend human reality.
I have to say, I got a little bit of chills on that. Thank you so much for that. I suspect you and Dr. Messina Morris are going to go deep on the main stage around this idea. Is there anything that you're excited to learn about or encounter at AWE 2022?
I can remember for many, many years that I'd been part of the AWE ecosystem, not just as the advisory council, but as a participant. I can remember listening to Tish Shoot and Ori Embar and many other people express technologies in ways that I hadn't even conceived or even fathomed. And I was sitting in the audience just as someone just enjoying popcorn, if you will, enjoying what would be said and said next. I remember the days of me being in Hacker Dojo here in Silicon Valley, and we barely had any money, any of us as broke hackers and founders and pioneers. And yet we somehow were able to get access to some AWE tickets. And we got to sit and walk and experience for 3 days the future of extended reality.
Yeah.
And we got to sit there right in Santa Clara Convention Center and we got to participate and to learn. So for me, The biggest thing that I'm looking to learn this year at AWE is two things. One, to be able to understand what progressive steps have been built and developed when it comes to hardware, who's building these great installations in our demo booths in our communities, but more further, what is the colloquial sentiment when it comes to the next progressive steps in the metaverse? Mine will always be humanity first forward.
I love that you're bringing questions with you as well. That's a trend that I've seen from many, especially on sort of the UX and strategy side of the. Thank you for that. We've made it to the speed round. Congratulations. Do you have a metaverse avatar? And if so, what does it look like?
I actually have one that I am building. Think about a black Aragorn from Lord of the Rings with hazel eyes. I'm building an avatar right now that would carry with me all through time, and that could be my virtual representative once nascent virtual worlds become further populated with ingressed environments and community centralization. My avatar will act on my behalf to be able to buy, sell, and trade, and to be able to interact with centralized and decentralized governments on occasion when it may need to. And so I'm building the construct right now.
Oh my goodness. You're going much further than just the surface level design. It seems like you've got some bold visions for this that true sort of support of what the original meaning of Avatar comes from. That's super
Of
cool.
course, there's design, there's fashion, there's culture integration, there's anatomical considerations, there's aesthetics, there's brand tie-ins, but also what about the activity and the processes and methods in which our avatars are engaging, not just with the throws and the tides of business, but from person to person. Then we start thinking about human centricity. Well, what about avatar centricity?
You're sparking some feelings of Reamd in my brain. So the last question is an opportunity to give a shout out or introduce us to someone who's impacted your journey and understanding of the metaverse. Is there anybody that you'd like um, to call out for?
My dad. My dad was an IT admin for UC Berkeley, and I would go with him to learn and understand servers and technology. And I would sit with him, Nathan, and I'd say, Dad, what's the internet? And he would tell me what the internet is. And I'd say, Dad, how does the web work? And he would tell me the very first principles and understanding of how the web worked. For me, that was my first experience of understanding and being educated on what we now call the colloquial metaverse. And so for him, though he's not physically walking around this world, he is ever present in my heart. And so he is the one that I give a shout out to.
You are indefatigable and doing so many projects. Is there anything specific or upcoming that you'd like to share with the AWE audience?
Be on the lookout for several summits that we have coming up. We have Free Spring Mental Wellness Summit. We have a great music summit and an athletic summit happening this summer. We just recently announced our Latin summit that we have coming in September. Our 3We, which is our Web3 sustainability summit that we also have in September. And we're so excited to announce GatherVerse EU summit that's also happening in September, and many more different announcements that are coming down the pipeline. We're such a huge fan of what AWE is. We enjoy our partnership and our relationship with AWE. And Nathan, thank you so much for the highlight awareness of what you do, because what you do is so critically important in capturing the thoughts and contributions from hearts and minds of people that are building every day, whether in garages, whether it's in their living rooms and product delivery teams and workforces living around their living rooms and hybrid or in office or on campuses. They're working all over the place, and some people from the seat of their car with a roof over their head. So thank you very much for capturing and taking time to be able to help take what we do and amplify that to others. Your work is incredible.
Christopher, that's so generous. I really feel seen with that. Thank you. One last question: if people are interested, how can they support and take part in the work that you're doing with GatherVerse?
We just recently and about to officially announce we have a GatherVerse Discord, and we're going out with a slow flow with that. So go to the GatherVerse site, you'll be able to find that, or reach out to me directly on LinkedIn and other different platforms at chris@christopherlafayette.com. Go to verse.org, register for some of our events. They're free. We have AWE as our partner. Hopefully you'll take time to visit, obviously, Augmented World Expo, AWE, and and coming up here for June and be part of the community. We share in communities, and there's communities all throughout the world that are event platforms that we're partnered with and that we collaborate with. And AWE is just right at the top of the list. We're right there all the way. So we're happy to have that be part of that. And when you see us, you'll see AWE.
Christopher Lafayette, founder, jack of all trades, and technologist with GatherVerse. Thank you so much for your time today. We look forward to seeing you at Augmented World Expo in just a couple of weeks.
Thank you for having me, Nathan. I've been very thoroughly enjoying my experience thus far with you.